The camera is our gateway into the filmic world, but what happens when the tool used to help us enter this other world rejects us and doesn't let us become completely lost in the narrative? This is what Bertolt Brecht's political aesthetic, or simply put, the alienation effect, is all about, making audiences more critical observers. This is heavily seen within Jean-Luc Godard's fourth film, Vivre, where we as an audience experience the alienation effect through Godard's use of camera. Brecht was fascinated by film, and one of the key ways in which he saw potential in the medium is the ability to do completely away with character psychology and prioritize external actions. He says, in fact, the film demands external action and not introspective psychology. In chapter 8 of Vivre sa vie, we see a montage, something Brecht was also fascinated by. Not only does a montage disrupt one's viewing habits and serves to isolate moments that can reveal aspects of social reality, in this case, what Godard chooses to include in his montage is very specific. In the montage, we see Nana, the main character, begin her prostitution career, receiving clients over and over again. The thing is, we are never given a direct glimpse at Nana's internal psychology, how she is feeling, what she thinks of this new world, but instead Godard focuses in on actions. We see various shots of Nana changing bed sheets, exchanging money, getting ready, turning off and on lights, walking to a specific location, undressing, and doing whatever this is. A lot of what is seen in this chapter is reminiscent of Robert Bresson, who also prioritized external actions and is one of Godard's inspirations. Through this prioritizing of actions, rather than knowing her internal psychology, we as an audience, as Brecht liked to say, reveal that social reality is not natural but subject to change. One of Brecht's main focuses in theater was making the familiar strange through preventing audiences from empathizing with characters on stage. This could also be applied to cinema as well, as Godard does it in chapter 6 of Vivre sa vie. Here we are introduced to Yvette, a friend of Nana. This is the audience's first time meeting her, and Godard chooses to do this.
Nana! Tiens Yvette, comment vas-tu? Je t'ai à peine reconnu parce que tu coupes les cheveux. Oh, il y a longtemps. Qu'est-ce que tu deviens? Et toi? Au moins je me défends, tu sais. Moi aussi. Eh bien, bravo.
We never see Yvette the first time she talks in the film. Normally, when we are introduced to a character, especially a supporting or side one, we see them completely and get an understanding of who they are. Here, Godard chooses to completely avoid giving us that sort of empathy. It is not until they begin to walk away that she is revealed to us. However, this preventing of empathy continues into the scene when they sit down at the coffee shop and begin to talk. As Yvette begins to explain how and where she has been to Nana, Godard zooms in, completely removing Yvette from the shot, leaving Nana the sole focus. This in turn allows the audience to not empathize with Yvette, and rather think critically about what she is saying. In chapter 7 of Vivre sa vie, we get to see various methods of the alienation effect on display. The scene starts with Nana writing a letter to someone, but the camera never breaks away or gives us a sense of what she is thinking. It is prioritizing the action of her writing the letter instead. Later in the scene, Raoul comes into the coffee shop to meet Nana. Here, Godard intentionally places the camera directly behind his head, causing us to not see him or Nana as they talk. This causes a break in our normal viewing habits, as in most mainstream cinema, a conversation like this would call for an over-the-shoulder shot as two characters converse. This also causes us to break our empathy with the two of them by positioning the camera as such. Then Godard begins to shift his camera back and forth, continuing to hide Raoul and making the audience seemingly aware of the film's construction. All these methods pioneered by Brecht allow us as an audience to become more critical observers instead of passive watchers being taken on a journey. We are forced to look at the formal techniques used by the filmmaker and question why. In Vivre sa vie, Godard does this plenty of times, leading us to figure out exactly what he is trying to show us with his camera, and be placed in a position to question the representation of reality we have just watched.